Yeah, it was pretty clear that day, and then especially the days following. There were pictures on social media about at the event and then off campus as well, particularly on frat houses, the bedsheet signs that they had.
I heard about the signs and saw them on social media.
I definitely heard about the vulgar signs. I think anyone that was driving around, near campus or in the town could have definitely seen all the things that were around. I didn't actually hear about any kind of sexual assault, and that's pretty disappointing. I feel like incidents that large, people should definitely be discussing them more, and administration as a whole should be issuing statements on the behalf of the student body.
I mean, obviously it's like disgusting. I'm not quite certain why we're still having this problem, because it seems like it should be common knowledge that you shouldn't treat people like objects, and you shouldn't be making people feel unsafe on campus or off campus or anywhere. So I felt pretty frustrated by it.
I think it's pretty disheartening. There's not a lot of transparency in the whole process of sexual assault in general, especially not at universities. And if something is happening in such a public day like game day, where, I guess the entire nation is sort of looking at us on that day, it's a good opportunity for us to talk about these things.
I myself didn't think it was funny. A lot of them were just random, like you said, harassment, verbal, and just the signs that were a little disturbing, but nothing fun about it.
I've heard of sexual assaults that happened on campus. I didn't experience any myself, but I did hear about a lot of individuals being intoxicated and then being taken advantage of.
I, of course, heard friends who had experienced stuff like that, and I don't want to speak for them, but for me personally, after game day, everyone was partying and celebrating the win, and I was just out with my friends, and I went downtown, I was hanging out, and at one point I was walking home alone, and I got catcalled, which usually doesn't happen to me, but happened that night.
I think a big thing is simply having a statement after big events like this where incidents are happening. I think there was, I don't know if there was anything about even the signs that were in the town.
Everybody who works in the higher positions at JMU should take a hard line against this type of behavior. I think it's really easy, for whatever reason, it's easy for people in power to be oh, we're just gonna kind of sweep this under the rug. And that's not that's not what should be done, because that's just a Band-Aid fix to the real problem. And the problem is that students don't feel safe.
I think JMU, first of all, needs to address that this is an issue and that it's an issue beyond game day. And they need to take actual action as far as suspensions. They need to verbalize it. Beyond that, I think it needs to come from the students as well, peer to peer.
Transparency. I think if you take a university like University of Virginia that had to deal with this in the past, just a few years ago, one of the biggest statistics that people kept bringing up is the amount of people that complain versus the conviction rate being so low. And hopefully nothing like that ever is revealed about JMU. I mean, if people are coming forward and saying that things happen to them, it's the university's obligation to sort of talk about them in an open setting.
For us to not be put in this light, I think we need to take action. I think JMU needs to stand up and do something about it.
I think that for us, what we should personally do as students is continue to pressure faculty to address the problem. And if there's a problem on campus with sexual assault, which there is, we know this, it's a problem on all college campuses, then that problem shouldn't be put behind a curtain. That problem needs to be exposed and taken care of. And I think that some of the things that JMU faculty doesn't understand is that if you address the issue, if you say, okay, this happened on our campus and this is what we're doing to fix it, the people who are potentially going to come to your school aren't going to be like, oh, I don't want to go there because there's sexual assault. They're going to be like, I know that if I go here, I will be supported by faculty and I will be supported by my teachers and by the higher ups and, you know, by the president. Like, the president cares that, you know, there's a possibility, like, the president cares that there are students who have experienced this crime against them, and like, they're going to do what they have to do to fix it. Like, they're not going to let me down.